दर्पणा जब हाथ सधाराली कबीर ऐसे होए मरे। कबीर रस गांडो चूसिए, कबीर रस को गांडो चूसिए, उनको मरिए रोए, उनको मरिए रोए। अब गुणियारे मानस, अब गुणियारे मानसो, भलो न कहे कोई, भलो न कहे कोई। कबीर कर गागर जल भरी, आज काल जहे फूट। कबीर गागर जल भरी, आज काल जहे फूट। गुर जो न चेते आपनो, गुर जो न चेते आपनो। आत्मा है लीजे लूट, आत्मा छे लीजे लूट। कबीर को कर राम को, मुतिया मेरो नाम। कबीर को कर राम को, मुतिया मेरो नाम। गले हमारे जेवरी, गले हमारे जेवरी। जह खिंचे तै जाओ, जह खिंचे तै जाओ। कबीर बिरे हो कोई अंगम मन बसे, बिरे हो कोई अंगम मन बसे। मन तो न माने कोई, बिरे हो बेहंगम मन बसे। मन तो न माने कोई, राम वियोगी ना जिए, जिए तबोरा होए। कबीर जपनी काठ की क्या दिखलावे लोए। हृदय राम ना चेतनी, हृदय राम ना चेतनी। एह जपनी क्या होए, ए जपनी क्या होए। कबीर ऐसी होए परे, मन को भावत कीन। कबीर पारस चंदने, तिन्ह एक सुगंध। तेह मिलते उत्तम भये, लोकाठ निर्गंध। कबीर जम का ठेंगा बुरा है, ओह नहीं सहया जाए। कबीर वैद कहे हाँ ही भला, दारू मेरे वस ये तो बस गोपाल की, जब भावे ले खस कबीर नौबत अपनी, दिन 10 ले हो बजाए नदी नाव संजोग जो, बाहर न मिल है आए बाहर न मिलने आए, कबीर ऐसे होए परी मन को भावत की, कबीर ऐसे होए परी.
He starts with Kabir ऐसी होए परी मन को भावत की. Something has happened, and that what has happened actually suits me very well. मन को भावत की, पाना चंगा लगता है. भावत means भाना. My mind has accepted it. So why have you accepted this? What has happened to you? He doesn't describe that. And that's the beauty of these things. All mystics leave some mystery in their word. You interpret. What happened to Kabir? That he doesn't say. He says, but whatever has happened, I have accepted. Why did I accept? The second part of the statement. He says, मरने ते क्या डरपना जब हाथ सिधावरा ली. Siddhavara. Coconut with that sindhur, that kesar. For those of you who do not know this tradition, in India there was a tradition of called sati. That tradition was that when the husband dies, the wife was asked to burn on the same fire alive. And that woman, the one who is going to go and sit on the same fire, was given a coconut in the hand. सिंदूर दे नाल लग्या होया coconut उनसे धौरा के. So she would be walking with that coconut in the hand, and the whole of the crowd would know that this is the one who now cannot turn back, is actually going to kill herself. And in Gurwani, this was very openly and clearly challenged and questioned. Satiyan se na aakhiyan je agge lag jalan, Satiyan se nanka jo birhe chot maran. So if there is a love to burn one's self in the fire instantaneously, is no proof of love. Suicide is not a sign of love. He says if there was a true love, then the rest of the life would have been spent in the memory of the beloved. Satiyan se nanka je birhe chot maran. Birha means to suffer in the memory of the beloved who has separated from you. The pangs of separation. The pains of separation. Which is considered to be the highest pain in all mankind. The difference between us and Kabir, we don't feel the separation from the ultimate creator, from that ultimate beloved. Kabir feels that. If we were to feel that pain, as that pain becomes intense, I am separated, I want to get back to my beloved. As that pain goes, so would be the search, so would be the desire, so would be the energy that will push you more and more in that direction. Today we don't. Today we just hear. We feel more the pain of our sons going to the colleges and the daughters going on the camps. And we'll pick up the phone, hour on the hour, how are you doing? Did you eat something? Did you sleep or anything? And the stomach ache and toothache and would you write to me, and on and on. And we all have gone through, we continue going through that. The God, the Creator, the creation, that energy, what is it? It can be sacrificed for any little thing. Every little thing. I mean, we can look inside ourselves. Doing everything would take the priority of over the memory of that Creator. Isn't it? And Kabir says, "Marne te kya darpana, jab haath se bhawda li." He says, I have that coconut in my hand now. Now the dying, he's not dying of the mind, the body. The death he's talking about is of that Kabir, that ego, somebody says. When it comes to him, the urge to merge is the only desire. The separation from the source is the only pain. And he says, since that message from my lover has come, that's what is Kabir aise hoye bhari man ko bhavat keen. What has happened? He says, that message has come. What that message? Tu karta, tu bhaya, mujh mein raha na hu. I have been saying only your name, been repeating only you. And as you cannot say the two words together, you and I cannot be together. Either you can say you or you can say me. The two words cannot be spoken together. He says, I have been only repeating you. Then what happened? He says, I became one. That's it. Forgot about my own name. Tu karta, tu bhaya. And that message that you are now accepted by your own beloved, your own lover, your own master, that message, he says, I am very grateful for that. I am very okay with it. At the same time, it is known that accepting that message would mean the total dissolving of the energy. When the drop falls into the ocean, you cannot ever find that drop back. There is no way. The drop is only identifiable as long as it does not drop into the ocean. It can stand on the corner, it can stand on the river bank and call itself a drop. But as soon as it drops into it, now that drop is no more. And Kabira says that. He says, Herat ri sakhi, Rahyo Kabir hiraye, बूंद समानी समंद में अब कुछ कह न जाए. कबीर पंथियों की किताब से है ये. He says, once I became the observer, हेरत देखना, I stopped being the player myself. I became the observer. See, right now we are the participants and everything. Last week I was talking to you. that even when we watch movie, we have the tissue box with us. And as somebody cries over there, we're going to cry with the tissue box. And nobody's dying there. There is a ketchup instead of blood, and there are no tears, and there is nobody dying. No heads are being cut. Yet we yell, scream, cry, laugh, go along with it. Why? Because we identify. We are actually the participants. We are not the observers. If we could become the observers, I would recommend those of you who would want to see from a Western mind's point of view. Richard Bach has written a book called Illusions. In $3.99 paperback. Those of you who want, read it. It's a beautiful explanation of how the observer and the object creates the illusion of separationness, even though they are not, they are one and the same. And he uses exactly the example of going to see the movie. When we go to see the movie, he starts a beautiful way. He says, when we go, let's say that I have no desire of going to the movie, and you come say, well, let's go to see a movie, and so I don't want. Well, come on, give me company. Okay. Then what do? We go on to the theater. Outside, we buy a ticket. And then when we buy a ticket, then what happens? An usher moves us into an auditorium. And the auditorium's construction is such that the doors are locked, the lights are shut off. What goes on outside is totally unfamiliar to you. Why? Because if the outside noise comes in, you cannot see what's going on out there. If the outside light comes in, you cannot see what's going on the screen. So we sign a contract with the theater that even though there may be a better drama going on outside, I would not be aware of what that drama is. And then we sit in the theater and we become one with the entire thing that's absolutely happening on a flat wall. We know there's nothing but the flickering of light. But we are totally absorbed in that. Now take this parable. When this entity, the soul, decides to take a body form like this, it buys a ticket. And the contract with the ultimate creator is that whatever happens on the other side will be totally unknown to me. Why? Because otherwise I cannot enjoy what's going on in the drama on this. And so we come on to this dimension and the drama starts. Now we can continue to enjoy that drama, or somebody comes and says, come on, wake up, let's go home. Oh, wait a minute. Look at what's going on there. I say there's nothing there. Just illusion. Wake up. And that's all Kabir is trying to do. Wake up. Wake up, it's nothing. So no, hold it. Haven't you seen that scene before? Yeah, but it's beautiful. And Kabir says, Baji gar ne baji pai, baji gar se preet mohe bane aayi. He said that's the only difference. Baji gar sang akela, apne ghar rahe na bela. He says, hai kya? Bajigar, the illusionist. He creates an illusion. I still remember as a kid in Punjab when I was growing up, I was very fascinated by these, the card tricks, and they will do this and do that. I'll be standing and I'll be totally mesmerized as to how they're doing it. And my older brother will come on home. He said, wait. And he said, there's nothing, it's just a hard piece of lie. Chalo, hand, it's illusion. And I wouldn't accept it. Kabir says that's exactly what's happening to the mind. Now, if a magician tells you this is the secret of the trick, would you ever enjoy that trick again? I have known too many friends who visit me in California. I take them to the Universal Studio and say, well, you are not a good friend. When they go back, they cannot enjoy the movies anymore. Now they know there is no train crashes and there are no planes blowing up and there is nothing happening. There are no floods. The whole Red Sea is parted with the 40,000 gallon water. And they see that, no, you should have done that. We enjoy the 10 commandments so much. And now we see that was the 10 commandments. Because once you know the illusion, and that's what Kabir says, Baji garne baji pai, baji gar seo preet mohe banai. He says, I am a friend with that illusionist. I know the secret. Hence, this does not grab me. It only grabs me, it only grabs those who still think it's the real thing. And that's what the first shloka says, Kabir aisi hoye pari, man ka bhavat keen. He says, I understand now. I am totally at peace with this. Why? He says, I now understand the whole secret behind this drama. And I'm not going to get lost anymore. Because why I don't want to get lost? Because I want to get back to my beloved. I want to get back to that source. That ultimate blissful state of existence. But that's not what is happening. He says the illusion becomes so dear and near to the heart. What is that? And the next statement comes. He says, Kabir, Rasko gando chusiye gunko mariye roye. Sugar cane, ganna. Now you know that the sugar cane, from the look of it, is not a very pretty. And it's not easy to do it also. Those of you who have tried to take some. In Punjab, we used to make fun of the people who will come from the city. याद है भाजी उन्होंने बजाय पोना गना देंगे कमाल का गना दूजा दे देगा छोटे वाला फिर उन्होंने सारी वाचा पास जानी उन्होंने पी के देखो we'll give them the two varieties of sugar cane. One is quite softer and thicker. The other is very small, about half an inch in diameter, and it's very. But the brown sugar that you buy from the market comes from that smaller one. It's the sweetest one. But you cannot take that. You have to actually take that and pass it through the rollers to squeeze out the real juice out of it. So Kabir says that's what is happening to the human being. Kabir rasko gando chusiya. The juice of life is so attractive and so alluring that it makes you forget that this is what it's supposed to be. The attraction of the life. Biggest trap in the human existence is, and you can ask particularly as the industrialized age is growing up, and the instantaneous gratification. It's mind-boggling what the humans are doing to themselves. Everything instantaneously. If they had their own, within their own power, it's amazing what they would not do instantaneously. The instantaneous food, the microwave ovens, running around, fast services, everything, drive-through. I'm glad there is not yet drive-through babies. Mind-boggling where the man is going. The whole of the energy is focused. Why are we running around? Right? That's survival, isn't it? And the very reason that we do work so hard, then we drink our coffee while driving at 60 miles an hour. We have no time. Speed. And unfortunately, the inner journey does not worry about those laws. You have patience. This is like a farmer who will put the seed in the ground after preparing the land, put the seed and then go home. And all he can do is, for the next 3 months, sing songs and dance and do nothing else. Absolutely nothing else. Once in a while he go back to the fields, watch and see if there are no more unnecessary roots and the things are there. He'll water the lawn a little bit and come home. He has to leave up to somebody else. Whether that seed will sprout and become a plant or not, the farmer cannot do anything with it. That patience. You can only wait. There is no guarantee. The reason the mind, the modern mind, the industrialized mind, instantaneous gratification mind says, can I have something tomorrow, today, now, this minute or not? If not, I'm not interested. So let's sit down, talk, discuss and show each other off and tell I know better than you, I know so many Vedas, so many Puranas. But these are songs. They arise out of you. And Kabir talks about it. He says, that's what is happening. This illusion that the juice of that sweetness of this instantaneous gratification attracts so much. Kabir rasko gando chusiye gunko mariye roye. Gun, to create that within you, the positive energy, nobody wants that. Why? Because that ras, that nectar of sweetness that this life provides instantaneously, it pulls you away. So he's being compassionate, he's giving us a way out, he's giving us the excuse. He says, I understand the problem of the human mind and human body system. Avagane are manaso bhalo na kahe hai koe. Nobody over there is going to say that you made use of the life. You made use of this carnation, this birth. Then you can enjoy it. Enjoy that. The secretion of sweetness that is being given to you by this nature instantaneously, you can enjoy that. But you will not be accepted there. And he wants to emphasize, why not? He says, look what is happening. Kabir gagar jal bhari aaj kaal jaye poor. He says the life, gagar, literally translated is a pot. But what is the pot? It's talking about the body. He says, as an earthen pot, and you fill with water and put it away, sooner or later it will crack. Just like the body, it looks today that it is permanent, that is long living. And Kabir says, don't you understand this? This is a pot filled up just with the water. Sooner or later it's going to crack. And when it cracks, Guru jo na chete apano ad manj lije loot. He says it is like getting on the journey and then getting robbed halfway. Ad manj jahenge loot. Adhe raste vich lute jana. And that's what happens. Rabindranath Tagore wrote the maximum songs and poems than any other poet alive on this earth. 6,000 songs. And all of a spiritual meaning. When he was dying, somebody asked me that you should be very happy. Should be so accomplished. No one has written so much as you did. So much energy flowed out of you. And his parting words were, I was just trying to tune my instrument. Okay. The attraction of the life. Biggest trap in the human existence is, and you can ask, particularly as the industrialized age is growing up, and the instantaneous gratification. It's mind-boggling what the humans are doing to themselves. Everything instantaneously. If they had their own, within their own power, it's amazing what they would not do instantaneously. The instantaneous food, the microwave ovens, running around, fast services, everything, drive-through. I'm glad there is not yet drive-through babies. Mind-boggling where the man is going. The whole of the energies focus. Why are we running around? Right? That's survival, isn't it? And the very reason that we do work so hard, then we drink our coffee while driving at 60 miles an hour. We have no time. Speed. And unfortunately, the inner journey does not worry about those laws. They took patience. This is like a farmer who will put the seed in the ground after preparing the land, put the seed and then go home. And all he can do is, for the next 3 months, sing songs and dance and do nothing else. Absolutely nothing else. Once in a while he go back to the fields, watch and see if there are no more unnecessary roots and the things are there. He'll water the lawn a little bit and come home. He has to leave up to somebody else. Whether that seed will sprout and become a plant or not, the farmer cannot do anything with it. That patience. You can only wait. There is no guarantee. The reason the mind, the modern mind, the industrialized mind, instantaneous gratification mind says, can I have something tomorrow, today, now, this minute or not? If not, I'm not interested. So let's sit down, talk, discuss, and show each other off and tell, I know better than you, I know so many Vedas, so many Puranas. But these are songs. They arise out of you. You know why? They said it is a Bhagavad Gita. Why was that name? Bhagavad Gita. It's a song. Now who can sing a song when you are ready to kill somebody? Isn't it paradoxical? That a song from the God should come when the war is going to start? But that's the paradox of life. Because the life and the death is that drama on that wall of consciousness, an illusion. You can identify with it as much as you want, or you can detach and become the observer. And Kabir talks about it. He says that's what is happening. This illusion that the juice of that sweetness of this instantaneous gratification attracts so much. Kabir rasko gando chusiye gunko mariye roye. Gun, to create that within you, the positive energy, nobody wants that. Why? Because that rus, that nectar of sweetness that this life provides instantaneously, it pulls you away. So he's being compassionate, he's giving us a way out, he's giving us the excuse. He says, I understand the problem of the human mind and human body system. Avganiyare manaso bhava na kahe hai koi. But he says, let me tell you, I understand your problem, but I'm also alerting. Who he's talking to? He's talking to himself. Kabir started. Kabir rasko gando chu. Avagane are manso bhalo na kahe hai koi. Nobody over there is going to say that you made use of the life. You made use of this carnation, this birth. Then you can enjoy it. Enjoy that. The secretion of sweetness that is being given to you by this nature instantaneously, you can enjoy that. But you will not be accepted there. And he wants to emphasize, why not? He says, look what is happening. Kabir gagar jal bhari aaj kal jaye poor. This is the life. Gagar, literally translated is a pot. But what is the pot? It's talking about the body. He says, as an earthen pot, and you fill with water and put it away, sooner or later it will crack. Just like the body, it looks today that it is permanent, that is long living, and we don't hesitate to create illusions of ourselves. तुम जियो हजारों साल, साल के दिन हो 50,000. Isn't it? And we sing and we dance to those notes. Literally translated, your life should be 50,000 years, and each year should have 50,000 days. That's a happy birthday to you. There's a beautiful story in the life of Alexander the Great. Because Alexander had started with a mission to conquer the entire world. Now, to conquer the entire world, you need a long life. Otherwise, what's the idea of having such a kingdom and you can't enjoy it? It's a parable, beautiful parable. The story goes that he sent his messengers to look for the nectar, the Abe Hayat. Ab means water, Hayat means life. That water which makes the life long enough so that I can enjoy. And the story goes that suddenly they come across a little pond which is labeled that that's the water here. If you take a sip out of this water, you will never die. So Alexander comes there and he picks up the water. Before he can drink, he hears laughter. And when he looks around, and there's a small caricature of a bird. It's not even a bird. There is no muscles, tissues around it, just a caricature. Skeleton sitting on a tree of a bird, and that skeleton is laughing. So he looks at him and says, "Why are you laughing?" He says, "Well, I'm laughing that there is another idiot who is going to join me." So now he gets angry. He says, "I'm a king. You call me idiot?" He says, "Of course I call you idiot. You want to drink the water so that you never die, right?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "Well, I did exactly the same thing. So now look at me. I'm sitting at this tree and I'm praying every day, please take this life away, because those very tissues and muscles which could enjoy the life, they have withered away. They are gone. I've been just sitting. After all, the muscle the tissue has this aging process. The life isn't going out of me, but the muscle is gone. And now I pray and I can't die. Come on, join me. And there will be two fools laughing at it. And the story goes that Ken Alexander drops the water right there. That's not a good idea. To prolong the life. And that's why those who have painted the scenery of heaven, that's the first thing they say. When you get to heaven, you'll get the who never gets old. Always stays 16 years old. Don't age. So what's the heaven? The definition of, after all, heaven is also creation of the same mind. Whatever I am yearning for here, and I don't get it, get to heaven. So that's unavailable in heaven. That's how the mind is trained to do the most impossible of the things. Absolutely uncalled for. And Kabir says, don't you understand this? This is a pot filled up just with the water. Sooner or later it's going to crack. And when it cracks, Guru jo na chete apano ad manj lije loot. He says it is like getting on the journey and then getting robbed halfway. Ad manj jahenge loot. Adhe raste vich loote jana. And that's what happens. Rabindranath Tagore wrote the maximum songs and poems than any other poet alive on this earth. 6,000 songs. And all of a spiritual meaning. When he was dying, somebody asked me that you should be very happy. Should be so accomplished. No one has written so much as you did. So much energy flowed out of you. And his parting words were, I was just trying to tune my instrument. अभी साज की लय बिठा रहा था कि तार टूट गए. अभी तो गीत लिखना शुरू ही नहीं हुआ. I have not even started yet singing his songs. And the message has come back. That's what happens to all of us. All of the history of the recorded mankind says exactly the same. Every soul who gets on this, eventually at that moment says, oh my God, what did I do? Now can I get this all back? Now I understand. Give me one more moment. Say, come back again. And then what happens? Come back again, forget the same message again, back to square one. Go to the same school and get beaten by the same master and get cheated by the same friends and do all of the same things. Cycle repeats. Only find out at the last moment. And that regret. That's not what I wanted to do. No, on the contrary, that's exactly what you wanted to do. And that's why when we were studying Farid, he was saying, Farid, Kukhindeya, Changindeya, Matti, Dendeya, Nit. He says, all the saints come on this world and they yell and scream at the top of their voice. Hey, this is the destiny. This is what's going to happen. Look at us. Believe us. Trust us. We are giving you the message. It's right from there. Okay. Yeah. Just take this money. And he says, Kabir says, remember this. But those who have, so now he comes back to him and says, see, because he understood it. Those who have understood it, what is there? How do you recognize that? The Kabir, Kukar Ram ko mutiya mero na. Mutiya. Punjab vich kutiyan da naam moti rakha jana si. Motiya da. Kukar mane kutta. A dog. He said, Kabir, Kukar Ram ko. I'm the dog at the door of my beloved, the Creator. And because I am yearning for that master's love so much, मेरा असली नाम की है, my real name is Moti, the taboo dog. Mutiya, Moti, Mutiya मेरो नाम. But it's easy to say yourself a dog, call yourself a dog. You have to behave like a dog too then, isn't it? And then he says that next line. He says, Gale hamari jewri jai khinche tah dog. What happens to a dog? Whenever you take a dog for a walk, what happens? Right? Dog wants to go this way, that way, sniff around here and there. So what the master does? He yanks the rope. Then the dog has no choice but to follow. He said, that's exactly what's happening to me. He yanks the rope, and I say, yes, master. Now the question is, how many of us has that courage to say, yes, master? Either I hear those who are in the female body, they say, well, next age, these men have got everything. I'm going to be born a man. And you talk to a man, he says, the next age, I'm going to be a woman. Right? Each one thinks that they have the best. Nobody's happy with what they got. I heard one of my friends say, next time I want to be born in America, I want to be a poodle. I said, why that? He said, look at their life. None of us want to say, thank you, I'm grateful. You did what you did. You did the right thing. You're doing the right thing. You will continue to do the right thing. The surrender. The acceptance. Hukam razai chalana, nanak likhya. How many of us say, whatever is happening is okay? Particularly when we are in some sort of a test in the life cycle. When a pain comes, of any kind, pain of separation, pain of losing a job, losing a friend, losing a beloved. How many of us says, whatever is happening is okay? That's being a dog. He says, he yanks the chain and I say, yes, master. Why? Because I'm a dog. Sitting at his door. Kabir, kukar ram ko, mutiya mero nao, gale hamare jewari, jah khenche, teh jao. Wherever he pulls, I just follow. Don't ask where, why, how. Just follow. That is surrendering to the will. Thy will be done. But that's not what the people do. On the surface they will say, yeah, I'm the servant, I'm the humble servant. But they have a totally different inner being. And he talks about that. He says, Kabir, Japani kaat ki kya diklave loy? Many of you have seen these so-called saints and they bring with them that mala. What do you call that in English? Rosary. And rosary has beads. And they keep on counting the beads of the rosary. He says, look what has happened to them. They are carrying the rosary with the wooden beads. He says, I don't understand this. Kabir, Japani kaat ki, wood, kaat means wood. Japani means rosary. Say, kya diklave loy? What are you trying to show to the world? Isn't it? That rosary, because I am sitting here and I have one in this hand, one in this hand, and I close eyes and I am doing this, everybody is watching. Is it necessary? Hirde Ravana Chetani. He says the real rosary is what? The breath goes out, breath comes back, breath goes out, breath comes back. Isn't that a cycle? Shouldn't the name of the ultimate lover, the beloved, be associated with that breath? So far that it should have gone deep in your own heart, soul, mind, body system. Say, Hirde Ramna Chetni. Ye Japani pyar. All that is for the show. So that the outside world could say, what a great saint, what a great man, what a great person. The purpose of showing others is what? And that's why the significance of the dress code in this world today. I remember I had a very dear friend, and he lives in Valley nowadays, and I once, after I came from one of the talks, and very, he sounded very affectionate and loving, and he sat down next to me and he said, I just want to make one request. So you sit on that stage on the podium and you had look at hundreds of people and pin drops fall, and you had them, and he continued, you had them in your hands and they are so all this. How nice it would be if when you come here, you would have a white turban, white shirt, white trousers, and you have your beard open. How much more impressive it would be. Could you not do that for us? I mean, he sat on the stage so nicely. So why don't you dress and look the part also? You're doing it. And I was amazed that this person sat there for 90 minutes, and what was he thinking? That he had to wait, and he could not contain himself anymore, and said, I just want to make one request. That's what happened to Ghalib, the poet, because his biggest desire of life was that he wanted to get to the king, to be able to sing his poem in his presence. But king had the court appointed poets already. Nirtaki and Ravan and all those were at that time very well known. And he was a young fellow who was coming up, and he wanted to, but he was a very poor fellow. And eventually somebody went to the king and said, you should listen to Ghalib. So he sent a message, okay, bring Ghalib. And somebody then, he said, no good clothes. So he said, Sherwani letega. But he had no Sherwani. He said, well, what the dress had to do with it? I'm going to go and say my poems. So he goes there and without listening to anybody, and now the gatekeeper stops him. He said, who are you? He said, I'm Ghalib. He said, yeah, everybody calls himself Ghalib, so go there. No matter how much time he just would not let him get in. So he goes back. So the court was waiting and didn't come. Next day the messenger again came that Ghalib was wanted, why didn't come? So he says, well, I went and the doorkeeper wouldn't let him get in. So we told you, have a beautiful dress. So he borrows the dress. So now he's very well dressed and looks good, and now he says, and the guy on the door didn't even ask who saluted anybody. So what he does when he gets to the court, instead of acknowledging the king sitting on the throne, he takes his dress off, put it next to his own, and he acknowledges the dress. So the king said, what's the matter with you? He says, well, I first want to acknowledge the one who brought me here. before I acknowledge the one who is sitting here. Look what is happening to us. What have we become? So much emphasis on what is the outer world and what the perceptions are. And Kabir hits it hard, those so-called saints who says that I have these rosaries and I have seen some of those, some have rosaries right here on the turban, some have a few of them over here, few of them over here, few of them over here. They're full of all these. As if having more of them makes them better, bigger saints. And Kabir says, Kabir, Japani kath ki kya dikhalaye loye? What are you trying to impress this world? If there was, and he says the same thing about, he gets up in the morning and there is a sound that, what is that voice called? On the in the Muslim countries, Azan. So he hears that voice. And he says, Sai, Mullah Gunare kya chade? Sai na behra hoye. He said, what do you think, your God is deaf? Why are you yelling at the top of your voice? Mullah Munari kya chade? Sai na behra hoye. Ja karan tu bang de, kabhi bhitar soy. He says, the one you are calling, he's hiding right inside you. So shut up and listen, rather than yell. And we do all of that. We read these things, we listen to them, we translate them, we understand them, and then go back and do precisely the same. And I have seen these things happen. Everybody talks about dowry is bad, 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 bad. हाँ? अपनी बच्ची की शादी कर रहे हैं, क्या करें? ये क्या करें? समाज है, नाक है, कट जाएगी. No, it happened. I tell you my own life story. That when I went to get married, I followed that. That's not mine, that's yours. And I followed that. And one of my classmates, who's here now, was working in IBM, and he was stunned. He said, I have never seen a revolutionary like you. I'm going to follow on your footsteps. Okay. So I came to the United States. Afterwards, when he was engaged, and the only daughter in the family, and very rich family, and he was working in IBM, and they wanted to give him a lot of dowry, and he very politely said, I don't need anything, I don't want anything. And so every young man says that. That's okay. And the wedding happened, and they brought so much of stuff. And he kept on saying, I don't want it, please don't do that, I don't want it. And they didn't listen. Eventually he got mad with them and he packed everything, put it in the truck and took it back to their home and dumped it in their home. Okay, so now he has returned everything. From that day onward, the wife made it that you insulted my parents. And took 7 years after 3 daughters, the marriage fell apart. Till today he curses me that I followed on your footsteps. We are still friends. For 40 years we've been friends. But that one thing he always reminds me. You are a very impractical man. No one should listen to you and no one should follow you. Look what happened to me. Those are the things only to discuss in the parties. They are not to be implemented. That's exactly what we do. And Kabir laughs at it. He makes fun of it. He says, what are you doing? You are so much into show and so much into the perception. How can you ever taste the real thing? But those who taste the real thing, now he gives the example of that in the next statement. Say, Biha Bhayangam man base man tana mane koe. Bhuyangam. snake. Biraho, separation. The pains of separation, the pangs. He says that when the pangs of separation from your beloved feel like you as if a snake is biting and spreading the poison all through your system. And that snake is what kind? It says, Manta na jane koi. Manta means the antidote. Mantar. Mantar ko udana zahar utar jana. He says the snake is such that when that snake bites, there is no antidote. When the pangs of separation get you that much, then what happens? It says, Rama beyogi na jiye, jiye to baura ho. It says the separation of that beloved doesn't let you stay alive. And if you stay alive, then you are being alive like a madman. And that's what happens to all of these. They were all called crazies of the crazies. They were condemned. They were unfit for the society because they did exactly the opposite. They had no social lives. There was no room for it. That proverbial telephone, is your dad home? But they tell the daddy is not home and he says, my daddy says I'm not home. Oh, stupid fellow, that's not how to say it. But he doesn't see the difference. And slowly he will understand it. How to say daddy is not home. We teach and we learn and we propagate. And that's what Kabir says. Because they will say exactly the same thing. You think when he said that, why are you yelling at the top of your voice? Do you think he was loved by those who heard him? He said that 500 years ago, it's still going on. Did anybody pay attention to that? He says, look for your lover inside you. Do we do that? We all run to the churches and the temples and the gurdwaras. We all go. Nanak never said go make gurdwaras and go to gurdwaras. Nanak says, Nanak, घर ही बैठे हैं सौ मिले ये नियत रास करे. बाहर जान भी क्यों है? नानक घर ही बैठे हैं सौ मिले. Just stay inside your home, look inside, and if you have cleansed yourself, he will come. And he says, those who actually get into that love affair, they fall into that kind of love, they would be condemned and judged and labeled as the crazy. Now, are you willing to be called a crazy? What is our effort? We want to fit in, isn't it? We joined those clubs and sororities and so much of emphasis, I want to belong. I'm not accepted. And we do every craziest of crazy things. In the colleges, these hazing and the raggings, and what are they? Where did the tradition start? To belong. They would put through all those humiliations so that they accept. It starts that from that age, and it continues till today. At this age, we want to belong to certain groups, certain institutions, certain clubs, certain. All of the effort is to belong. And what does this? This says, hey, wait a minute. Make a choice. Where do you want to belong? Do you want to belong to him or do you want to belong to this? If you want to belong to this, then forget that. Don't talk about that and do this. And they call the bluff all the time. But look what happens. He says, Kabir paras chandane ten hai ek sugandh तेह मिल तो उत्तम भय लो काट निर्गंध. Beautiful. What a word picture he has created. There is a mythical stone, and that stone is called Paras, and its quality is that it's an alchemist quality, that when it touches the iron, it converts it into gold. It's a mythical stone, and there is a search of this type of. And in the scientific world today, you know that this is one of the biggest research going on, how to take the base metal and how many atoms and molecules to convert so that it behaves as a different metal. And it goes on today. And similarly, there is a wood, and that wood is called chandan. Now that wood is not mythical, that's real. And that wood has a natural fragrance. Any other kind of wood, if it is put next to it, absorbs its fragrance, except one. And that is bans, the cane. The cane does not accept the fragrance, no matter how much it sits next to it. Because if you break the cane, you will see that it is hollow from inside. It has no center. That's why the flute is made out of that cane. So Kabir says, कबीर पारस चंदन तिनके एक सुगंध तेहे मिल तेउ उत्तम भय लोहो काट निर्गंध. He says, if you have a desire of rising into the spiritual world, then go seek. Find those who have those qualities. वो पारस बन चुके हैं. And if they are themselves, how would you know it is you have found them? They will bring a revolution in you. They will cause a change in you. You will catch their fragrance. If you don't catch their fragrance, normally what happens? You don't catch their fragrance, but they catch your pocket. That is for sure to happen. They will catch your pocket either with a greed or with some sort of guilt and fear. कोई ना कोई वह पा जाएंगे. And I used to have this argument with my parents when I was growing up all the time. Because some reason I was always the craziest and the oddball in the entire family. And some Brahman Pandit will walk by and they will tell my father or my mother died when I was young, so they'll say, that naughty one, is कुछ निचर है इसलिए आपको परेशान करता है. तो मेरा छिनिचर उतारने लिए वो ना पैसा उतरता. And I will argue with them, don't follow this, there's nothing happening to me, you talk too much. So the Pandit says, this guy has some ghost on his head, so give me this money and I will do this for him, and then his ghost will go off and he will not argue with you so much. So what? This is his work, so if 10 रुपए ले भी गया तो कोई बात दे दे. Just in case. Just might work. It never worked. It's still not working. नहीं ਹੁਣ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਰਗੇ ਪੰਡਤ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ ਨਾ. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ. They know how to create that type of a fear, a guilt, so that you are bound to give it away. And he says, I'm giving you the test. If you want to evolve yourself, go seek a paras, a chanda. Go find that. What is the test? The test is that there will be a change in you. If there is no change in you, then both are defective. Then both will be defective, not just one. Then the seed is wrong and the ground is wrong. Both are wrong. He says, Tehe mil to uttam bhai. They got together. The improved what? Loho, the iron, kaath, the wood. Wood will catch the fragrance from the chandan, and the iron will become the gold in touch with the. But there's one kind of which won't. And which one is? That's the nirgan. If you are the king, even being next to chandan, you will not catch the fragrance. So make sure that you are not that hollow. Make sure you are not that empty. Make sure there is a center. That whatever is being given to you stays with you. कबीर जम का ठेंगा बुरा है ओ नहीं सहया जाए एक जो साधु मोहे मिलियो तिन लिया अंचल लाए. He says, why I am so much emphasizing on this? Why I am so much concerned? Why I am repeating so much? He answers that question. So Kabir, jam ka ठेंगा बुरा hai. He says, remember, jam means that messenger who's going to come and get you, who's going to guide you. If you want to call him the goddess of death, or if you want to, whatever the name you want to give, the messenger. Says when he comes and he's going to separate the entity from the physical body, that's not going to be a pleasurable process. It's going to be a very painful process. So he says, since that is it, then that's why I'm reminding you, go find what? Ek jo sadhu mohe mile. Find that paras who will help you to detach yourself from those sensual pleasures so that you get closer and closer to the purpose for which you have taken this life. कबीर बैद कहे हूं ही भला दारू मेरे अवस. When a doctor takes a look at a patient and diagnoses perfectly and say, this is the problem, but he has no medicine for it. He doesn't have the right medicine. What will happen to the patient? Despite the fact that the sickness, the illness has been diagnosed, the patient will die. But let's assume the other way. The doctor has a pharmacy and all the medicines are there, but he has no clue what the problem is. So then he gives catch off. I used to in Punjab, and you go to the doctor, everybody gets a sulfur. One tablet of sulfur, that's it. No matter what the problem is. All prevailing. The patient dies again. Kabir says, the real doctor is who? Says not only can diagnose it properly, but also has the medicine for it. रोग दारू दोवें बूझे ताइयों वैद सुजान. A doctor needs two things: the capability to diagnose, and then the capability and the capacity to recommend the right medicine. Both are necessary. One without the other, the patient will die. And he says, what happens here? He says, Kabir Baid kahe haun hi bhala. He says, the doctor thinks that I am the one. Now, he may be the one because he has all the medicine. He says, but he is not the one who has the capability to diagnose. The doctor can only create the medicine, the pharmacy. He can go to the places and create those from the plants and the chemicals and all that. But the power of diagnosing and recognizing is given by somebody else. He must not forget that. Kabir Baid kahe haun hi bhala, daru mere vas, e to bast gopal ki jab bhave lekhas. So that quality of diagnosing has been given by him, and he should always be mindful of that he can take that power back any moment. When all the medicines will be sitting on the shelf, totally useless.